so I can. All right, well, thank you so much again for your patience and for joining to this data submission guidelines webinar, which is going to be helpful for the end of the year, which is, we're almost there. It's about 2 more days for us to submit all our data. This will be recorded and will be posted on our website. I will be using a PowerPoint presentation where you can get this PowerPoint and go through the slides, as well as at the end, I'm going to do a live demonstration of submitting all this information. My name is Martha Perez. I am with the CASAS Technology Support Team. And if you have any questions, feel free to interact and let me know. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen now. I'm going to be sharing the PowerPoint presentation. And then we'll go ahead and here we go. Okay, can you see my screen? You can give me a thumbs up or you can say yes.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so this is what we're going to see. We're going to do a quick overview of the data submission requirements as to what to enter or what to review, which would include to prepare the data for the entire program year. As you know, we quarterly send our data to the NRS, the National Reporting System, and they are required for us to submit the data integrity report. So this is what we are required to do every quarter. And of course, at the end of the program year, we would need to submit the data for the entire program year, which consists of data from July 1 to June 30th of this year of 2021, from July 1 of 2020 to June 30th of 2021. Now, we have the data submission to prepare. What is it included in there? Well, we have the employment and earnings follow-up survey, the adult education and personnel information, the quarterly data submission wizard, which will take care of submitting pretty much most of our deliverables this year. And we have the final expenditure claim report to submit. And we're going to go over each of these deliverables slower. And I'll sending you some screenshots of this. Well, they are included in the presentation. All right, so overviewing these data requirements, we're going to start off by checking out the dates. So which deliverables are due and when they are due. We have the deadline again is going to be on July 15th, which is going to be in a couple of more days. That's on Thursday. And you can send it anywhere between the day and you have until midnight to submit. And that way it will be counted as sent on July 15th. Which deliverables are due? Well, we have the end of year TOPSpro enterprise data, which you don't really need to send us anything because your data is already hosted on our online server. So we already have it, but with just you having to run the wizard, that will give us a trigger that we can go ahead and access your data. We also have the end of year the end of year NRS data integrity report, which is the regular DIR that you generate. The adult education personnel information. We have the end of year or final expenditure claim report. And I'm going to fix this so I can send it over to you updated. And we also have the employment and earnings follow-up survey, as well as the final expenditure claim report, which is listed at the bottom. So all the data must include information from July 1 to June 30th of 2021. All right, so how do we set deliverables? For the first employment and earnings follow-up survey box that we have here, you basically just need to complete all of the steps that we need to do electronically via TOPSpro Enterprise, which is to send the employment and earnings follow-up survey to those people who were identified as exiters in the corresponding quarter. So there's really nothing to send with this deliverable as long as you have complied with sending the employment and earnings follow-up surveys to all those students who were selected as exiters. For the end of year TOPSpro Enterprise data, well, like I said before, your data is already hosted on our online server. So there's really nothing to send on this deliverable because we already have your data, but we just need you to review it, enter everything that you need to enter, and then send us the reports via the wizard. That way we can know that you are ready for us to process and you have submitted. The end of year data integrity report, the payment points report, and the end of year certification letter. These are 3 deliverables that are included in the wizard. So if you run the wizard, you're going to be submitting all of these at once. You don't need to worry about printing anything, signing it, and sending it over via fax or via email. For this point, I believe from this point forward, but at least for this year, we are definitely accepting electronic signatures. So by just sending this wizard, by just running the wizard, that will take care of sending all these 3 reports: the data integrity report, the payment points summary report, and the end of year certification letter. And finally, the adult education personnel information must be entered with naming all your, not naming, but counting all your staff that has worked throughout the program year of 2020, 2021 under the WIOA umbrella. So all of these staff members with their certifications and years of experience must be entered in that field. And I'm going to show you a little bit later on where you can find this information and enter it. All right, data review. Here's a quick checklist of the end of year data submission, TOPSpro Enterprise data for submitting all your deliverables. We usually recommend to review the class instances as to see like which instructional programs they have in the class instance, the focus area, if there are any like special programs or distance learning listed under that instance, that would be ideal to check it. And I'm going to show you something really cool that I always use, and that is the child lister. So I'll bring it up when I bring up the TOPSpro Enterprise page. So you can use that tool, which I find it pretty easy to use, and it helps. It just saves me a little bit of time while checking the class instances. All right, so enter or to verify all the attendance hours. If you have daily update or accumulated attendance hours, go ahead and verify all of these class records so you can have your students listed accordingly. Here it says verify data since COVID is being recorded as distance learning minutes. Since COVID-19, you know, everything changed. So if you have distance learning classes, if you have students doing classes from home or doing some homework, you're counting that as distance learning, go ahead and verify all that information from your classes as well. Now, if you have also are funded for EL Civics, if you have additional assessments that you have not entered, please go ahead and do so. Don't forget to enter any of those special assessments because those are very helpful that will count towards your payment points. So make sure that you enter all of these assessments and verify that they've all been entered. And last on this slide, it says student information to clean up the duplicated students. As you know, we have a report called duplicated students that is helpful as well to target all those duplicated records, if any, And you can also merge them. Once you have targeted a couple of students that should really only be one, you can definitely merge those records. And of course, to obtain all the GEDs, IDs listed, or HiSET IDs, if that's applicable to your program. Okay. Right. So the national reporting systems requires for us to submit the data integrity report, which is basically like an inventory of all your data. So on this screenshot, you see from the Rolling Hills database, it is the NRS data integrity report, which you can basically get it from the reports menu under data management. That's where you'll find the NRS data integrity. And make sure that you select the proper program year, because we are currently in the new program year, which would be the 2021-22 program year, and you want to fix it for the 2021, okay? And you don't need to make any other changes like programs or date ranges. You don't have to fix anything in here. Just please run it as is by clicking the generate button. This is for you to verify before sending the data. Make sure that you run the report and look at your numbers. The summary information that will appear on the top, it will tell you how many students you have, how many WIOA learners are eligible, and how many total learners you have. Some may be concurrent, so if that's the case, it will be shown here in the summary table. Then if a student has no hours and also no tests, then that student will qualify for WIOA, but not officially register a period of participation in any of these boxes. Okay. Next slide shows this drill down options that you have from the data integrity report. It is advisable that you can go, if you would like to correct or to edit any of the information from here, you can definitely right click and drill down. You can also do the same drill down options as the NRS table 4, and then just a couple of more DIR specific options as well, like drill down to NRS monitor or to drill down to assessments audit, as well as the data integrity detail. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back to, so for you to drill down like this, you would need to right click. If you single click, it will show you the list of numbers that appear in this cell right here. But if you right click, you'll have the option to drill down to other things. All right. Now, these items here from 01 to item number 10, as you see, we have some new items in the DIR from our last build. So from items 1 through 10, they include like most of the key requirements that are for federal reporting towards the NRS, and it will give you like drop reasons that prevent any students from qualifying. Like, for example, if a student has no gender, it will give you the number of students who have no gender, and these will be automatically disqualifying the student for other benchmarks. So it is important to try to enter all of these items from 1 through 10 when available. Now, items from 11 through 16, these detail special NRS specific conditions, like some specific criteria, like for exiting and for periods of participation, but not precisely disqualify like students from getting onto the report, to the data integrity report. These are just giving, like I said before, it's like an inventory of your data accordingly to the participants. And lastly, the final items from 17 through 22, these don't directly contribute to any of the results like from the NRS tables that we normally run under the federal tables reports, but these represent like key state and federal priorities. So they're just, again, an inventory of your data. All right, now let's get to the technical part of the data submission. On the data submission, you want to make sure that you complete the employment and earnings follow-up survey for the final end of year data integrity. For the final end of year data report, you'll need to make sure to prepare the end of year data to save the program year 2020 to 2021 quarter 2 exit population using the NRS Core Performance Wizard. And I'm also gonna show it to you where you can find it in the menus. Okay, so these screenshots are a little bit outdated, but you should see here 2020, 2021 selected exit quarter 4. I'm sorry, 2019, 2020 quarter 4, and here, well, here 2020, 2019, 2020 quarter 4, and here 2020, 2021 quarter 2. That's what we are looking for about this end of year data submission deadline. Okay, so the employment and earnings follow-up survey, you will find it under the records menu. If you go to records survey responses, you will see people who exited during the quarter 4 and or quarter 2. These are the ones that you will need to follow up with. Once you have sent the surveys, you will need to view and manage the invitations. So you can find it under the records menu. You can find records invitations as well as survey responses. So you can contact the ones that have not responded. You had 3 chances to send out emails and SMS text messages to all of these students who were selected as exiters. So you can continue to follow up with them. After these 3 attempts, you can individually give them a call or contact them individually, like personally contact students who don't respond. And here is a link for the updated guidelines for the end of year quarter data submission deliverables. Now, the COAPS plan, this was during the first quarter, so I'm sure everybody got this requirement of entering the COAPS. So we're not going to touch on that anymore. We have a couple of slides that show this information. So this has already been submitted during the first quarter and it was required. So it was already completed. This is the quarterly data submission wizard in the TOPSpro enterprise. Like in this case, if you're California WIOA Title II funded only, then you would do the quarterly TOPSpro enterprise data and the data integrity report, as well as the payment points and the end of year letter. But if you're also CAPE funded, you have the option to run it for both programs at the same time, or you still have a couple of more weeks to send it over to the CAPE reporting. So you have that option. You can do only the WIOA right now and then wait for a couple more weeks if you still have things to work on in TOPSpro Enterprise. And here's the link for the quarterly data submission wizard instructions as well, so you can review them if you'd like. Okay, so on this slide shows you where you find the quarterly data submission wizard, and it's under the tools menu. We normally recommend to finish entering the data before Thursday and then generate and review the reports just before running the wizard. You would need to make any corrections if necessary if you are not getting the appropriate information in there. All right. So now, once you are ready to submit, you can click on the Tools menu and select the quarterly data submission and pretty much go through the wizard. Here are some slides with some screenshots. You would need to select the appropriate program year, which is the 2020-21. You should see your agency's name listed in the box, and then the end of year data submission. So you will find another page where it's going to ask you if you want to do the WIOA as well as the CAPE at the same time. It is up to you whether you want to do it both together or you would just want to do the WIOA one at this time, and later, a couple of weeks later, or just before August 1 for the CAPE data integrity. All right, so once you have activated the wizard, it's going to generate the NRS data integrity report as well as the payment point summary report. So once you have reached at this quarterly data submission page, you would need to check all the WIOA duties that you have already reviewed all the information. So for quarters 1 through 3, agencies were just allowed to submit once during the quarter for each quarter. But for the end of year, you have or agencies will be allowed to resubmit because we know how important this final deadline it is. So we have re-enabled it for you to submit it once or twice or as many times as you need until you have the final information in there. Okay, of course, we highly encourage to enter all the data and hoping that you have everything sure in here, everything it is correct and everything has been entered. That way you don't have to submit many times, but if you still need to enter more data, then by all means, go ahead and enter it and resubmit if you have already submitted. Okay. Now, how would you confirm your data submission? You can go to the organization menu and then click on your agency's information. And once you double click on your agency's information, from the navigator on the left, you have this quarterly data submissions lister that it will list all the quarters for the current program year. Remember, there is a filter embedded by default that only filters data for the current program year. So you will be seeing here lots more of quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. And if you have both fundings, then it should give you 2 lines or 2 rows per quarter. All right, so after you send out your reports, CASAS receives them on our end, and it is a manual process where we process all these deliverables and send out some emails that look like this. It is an email receipt, electronic receipt that we have confirmed that we received your data, like your DIR, your payment points, your end of year certification letter, which again are embedded within the wizard. So you don't have to worry about downloading any special letters or from our website or from the CDE website. They will be embedded within the data submission wizard. Okay, so the primary contact from your agency is the one that usually receives these emails. If you don't know who your primary contact from your agency is, then you can definitely send us an email to contactinfo@casas.org to verify that information. Or if you should be the one receiving those, make sure you send that information to contactinfo@casas.org. So the final expenditure claim report, that is also due on August 1. Okay, all the general data submission deliverables are due this Thursday, July 15th, but except for the final expenditure claim report, which again is due on August 1, you can download or complete it online by using this link or from the CDE website. And then if you have any questions, this will be required for a signature. And if you have any questions, you can contact the OTAN website for assistance. Here are some important links for the this process, like the AFLA grant information. This will give you specific information as well as the ones that I gave you on our chat. Let me repost these links that I posted at the beginning of the training so you can access them later if you'd like. Okay, here you go. And here are the quarterly data submission wizard instructions, as well as the state and regional network meetings. I highly suggest that you could take a few meetings, during the year or every quarter. That would be fantastic. So you keep updating with the latest news with WIOA. Here is a slide with our emails, our phone numbers. We are open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we can definitely help you submitting your data, all right, or make any corrections to your database. If you have any questions, like reviewing your classes, we can definitely give you a hand with this, all right? Any questions that you may have so far?
This is kind of unrelated to your topic, but just so you know, I was in a meeting a couple hours ago, and there were a lot of people that wanted to go to this meeting. And the only reason I got in was because Laura sent me the correct link. I tried all the links and I couldn't get in. So I think there are probably a lot of people that are missing out on this. Do you think you would reschedule it at some point?
Yes, definitely. I can try to reschedule it for tomorrow, even on the 15th, like early in the morning. So, so everybody who didn't get a chance to join us today, unfortunately, there was a mix-up with the links that I programmed it for, and I just didn't want to get disconnected because it only lasts for 40 minutes. So I will definitely, I am recording this webinar and we'll post it on our website, as well as reschedule this meeting for tomorrow and probably on Thursday as well.
Okay, so, that's great. Well, how soon will it be up on the website?
A couple hours, I think.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So now I'm going to do a new share. I'm going to share the Rolling Hills data. Well, it's not the Rolling Hills database, but this is my training website that I normally use and for my own personal testing. But here is where I can show you. I'll go ahead and demonstrate. Let me do a large view here. Let me go ahead and demonstrate where you would enter those teacher, adult education, and personnel information. First, go to organization and agencies, and then go ahead and double click on, well, let me just remove this filter here so I can see my agency. I'll double click on my agency's name, and from the navigator on the left-hand side, I would click on program years. When we go to the program years, you will find the information in here. I will just go ahead and review on 2020, 2021 program year. And let me just unpin this navigator on the left-hand side so I can show you my, my boxes here for adult education personnel, enter how many staff you have from part-time, full-time personnel, or any unpaid volunteers. And then depending on their function, you can enter it in here. Then once you enter the adult education personnel, you would need to also enter the teacher's years of experience. If they have from less than 1 year, or from 1 to 3 years, or more than 3 years, depending on what position they are at, full-time or part-time, that would be also need to be entered in here. And what type of certifications they may have. So if they have no certifications, then they also need to be placed in under no certification. But if they do, go ahead and give them the certification that they have. And once you have entered all this information, Accordingly, for the 2021 program year, make sure that you click on the Save button. That way we can look in there and verify that this information has been entered for your agency. Okay, another area where I wanted to show you is go to the organization menu, classes, and then instances. When we go to the class instances lister, I'm going to make sure that I filter for the proper access group. Okay, I want to go to the 2020-2021 program year classes. So that's where I look for into the filter, program years 2021, and then just click OK twice. This will bring me the classes. But if I wanted to see like how many students we have enrolled, we would probably need to double click on each of these classes to verify. But for that, I always suggest to use the child lister, which you're going to find it under the More button. So once you click on More and click on Child Lister, you will be able to see who are enrolled in that class by clicking Class Enrollments. Okay, so this is a very big view right now. Let me see if I can do it to normal. That way you can probably look at it a little bit better. So by clicking on that, and then this, this page or window will kind of cut in half. So it will show the class enrollments at the bottom. I always like to pull this up towards the top area. And then all the classes that you have, you can look them through this position counter. So that way, if you see everybody is enrolled in here, you can see their class records. You can also see their tests. And every time you click on any other record from the child lister, it's going to reset this this cutoff screen here in the middle. So this usually takes a little bit longer to load the tests. So let's hope that this progress bar removes soon. I want to take much of your time. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if we set this back here, as you can see, when I click on class enrollments, it's going to reset it back. So I always like pulling it up because I can use this counter here to go towards the next class. So that way you don't have to be fiddling around too much. I can see all the enrollees in the class. I will move forward the next, and then I'll see all the enrollments in here. There we go. So I always like it to use the class instances. You can still look at the focus area on the top. If you don't have the focus area, I highly recommend that you populate it under the class instances lister. And again, you go to organization, classes, instances, and you just simply right click in that gray area on any of the column headers. So you can show any different or possible menu in here if you want to see notes or whatever. In this case, I like showing the focus area as well as the instructional programs next to each other. That way I know if this is an ESL class, if it has EL Civics focus area, then you can also populate special programs if you'd like, so you can see all this information. And if you want to retain your listers like this, like you don't have to populate it every time that you're going to be selecting the class instances, you can click on the More button and then click on Schema. When you click on Schema, just click on the Save button. That way it will retain all these listers for you. Okay, let's see. And finally, let's go ahead and give it a close. I'll close all these pages. I'll click on Pages, close all pages, and that gives me a clean slate to work with. So finally, the data submission wizard. I'll go through it really quick. It's under the Tools menu, Quarterly Data Submission Wizard. And this is what you will see at the beginning. It has step-by-step instructions as well. And then you just want to verify that the program year is the 2021 program year from July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. And pretty much go through the next button, it should have the fourth quarter or the end of year submission, 2021 again, and say next. And again, it should do the enter as that integrity report, the payment points report. I don't have much information in my database, so it's probably not going to populate anything, but yours will. It should. So this is going to take a few seconds to get this progress bar to completely run and render the reports. So you have the ability. So this is what my data integrity looks like, which is not, it doesn't have any data, but yours will. You have the ability to export the report from this wizard, as well as to print it, and then click the next button. Okay, so I clicked twice on it, so that's why I got this error message. But in reality, you should be looking at the payment point summary, which again, you can export and print. And then once you click on next, it will give you this final submission. You are reading through this information and you are verifying that all of this has been done for your agency. That you have completed the adult education personnel, teachers' years of experience, and the certifications, the data integrity report, the payment point summary, and also ran the core performance wizard, and you send out the employment and earning surveys. So all these have been complied. If you want to send us a message or have a comment through this wizard, you can definitely feel free to enter in here. Otherwise, you don't have to enter anything. And just click on finish at the end. So while this is uploading our files, it will send us the submission on our end and we will be receiving it. All right, and again, you can export this information. Then you will have this other next button after you finish send, which is the end of year data submission certification letter. Usually you just download it from our website or from the CDE website, but in this particular case, you don't have to because it's already submitting electronically by the person who accessed the database, and it will give you the date where you're sending it. Okay, so pretty much you are complying with this requirement. There's no need for you to print it and send it, but if you'd like, you are welcome to print it. You can print it to PDF as well once you click on print. Okay, so once you're done and you submit everything and you just hit the exit button, you can be sure that your data has been sent. But if you want to also review, I would go to the organization menu and then click on, let's see here, data submissions. Oh, go to organization agencies. And once in the organization agencies, again, I have to remove this, but this is just for my agency. So don't worry about it. Just double click on your local organization's name. Okay. Once in the organization menu, from the left-hand side under the navigator, you're going to scroll down and click on quarterly data submissions. Once you click on the quarterly data submissions, this is going to show you a list of the quarterly data submissions done for the 2020-2021 program year, or it might have all the current year. Remember, you can click on the filter button and also review the program year that you want to generate it for, or that you want to see them for. All right, so this will give you all the data submissions that you've done through the wizard. So any questions? Okay, nothing. I will take that as a no. I know this is a small group, but hopefully on the rescheduled meeting, we can have other people and you can also join us as well if something was not clear enough. I will go ahead and send out the PowerPoint presentation as well. Hopefully I can get a link to the recording today. Otherwise, if I get a little bit later or tomorrow, I'll go ahead and send that out as well. All right, so if anybody has any questions or any comments at all? Oh, you're welcome, Erica. Thank you for joining. Hi, thank you, Laura. Thanks so much for joining, Beverly, as well. As always, thank you so much for your attention. On my part, that is all. I hope that you ladies have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.